approach for human rights protection and environmental conservation. So, since yesterday, you all are participating in this particular international conference as to understand what is the relationship between the human rights as well as the environmental conservation. So today, I, Dr. Ruchi Sharma, currently working as professor and as founder director from Jagran City University, Bhopal, will be going to focus on adapting inclusive approach for human rights protection and environmental conservation. I'm going to share my PPT now. Kindly just let me know that whether you are able to see the slides, because many times it happens कि हम जब next slide में जाते हैं तो अगली slide नहीं दिखती, सिर्फ first slide जो है वो ही visible रहती है. So kindly just let me know. Are you able to see the slide? Okay, so the topic on which I'm going to discuss is the adaptive inclusive approach for human rights protection and environmental conservation. So now when we are talking about the human rights, first let us understand I have used three different elements and have tried to combine them to come up to this particular session where I'm talking about human rights protection. I'm also talking about environmental conservation and as how to interconnect these two by using the inclusive approach. So when we are talking about the human rights, we all know what is the meaning of human rights. वो rights हमें मिलती हैं as being a human being, क्योंकि हम इंसान हैं इसलिए वो rights हमारे पास रहती हैं. So human rights are the basic rights and freedoms that belong to each and one of us, and no one can take us from away from us those rights. Although these are based on shared values, मतलब हमारी जो rights हैं, it should not harm whatever we are doing, we are free to do, but it should not harm other person also. So the shared values which are important are dignity, fairness, equality, respect, and independence. And these rights, they are being borne by, they are protected by the law. So as a result, to maintain the equality and the social balance in the society. Every year on 10th December, the world celebrates Human Rights Day. And it was actually the 10th December 1948 when the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And the 75th anniversary of this particular Universal Declaration of Human Rights, we will be celebrating this year on 10th December. So when we are talking about the different kinds of human rights, as what are they? So human rights law mobilizes governments to do some things and prevents them from doing others. In this, the individual also have responsibilities in using their human rights. They must respect the rights of others. And no government, group, or individual person has the right to do anything that violates another rights. Then we are coming to the next feature, which talks about the third point, which you can see on the slide is universality and alienability. So human rights are universal and inalienable. All people everywhere in the world are entitled to them. No one can voluntarily give them up, nor can others take them away from that person. Indivisibility means here human rights are indivisible and they all have equal status as rights, and there is no such thing as a small right or big right. So all these the rights, human rights which we have, they are indivisible. Then coming to the fifth point, which talks about interdependence and interrelatedness, which says that the realization of one right often depends upon the realization of others. So if we are focusing on right to education, then our right to health also depends on it. or right to information. See, all these rights which we have, they are interdependent and interrelated. Next, coming to equality and non-discrimination. When we are talking about equality and non-discrimination, all individuals are equal as human beings, and there is no discrimination either based on, race, caste, class, gender, etc. Then coming to the participation and inclusion, each and every person is entitled to active, free, and do meaningful participation. Then we last is accountability and rule of law, where it says that we are all governed by certain rules and regulations, and we are also accountable for whatever the action which we are doing. Now, relating it to the present times when we are talking about what is the need of the hour, or uh, how the areas which we are dealing with, especially related to this international conference. So nowadays we are seeing environmental degradation, including the triple crisis of climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. Equality for all also means advancing the right to a healthy environment and climate justice. All these impacts disproportionately all the person, groups, and people, and those who are vulnerable situations, they are affected more by it. So, keeping all this, the current challenges which we are facing, the need of the environmental conservation is essential. When we are talking about the human rights, our rights related to the environment conservation and the rights which we are implementing or we are following, it all includes the rights to life, food, water, an educated standard of living, a healthy environment, development, and health. These crises, coupled with unsustainable development, represent serious threat to the ability of present and future generation to enjoy these rights. So, when we are talking about the different the as how we can protect it, so nowadays the major concerns when we are talking about human rights and environment, we can see in displacement, like many due to the various projects which are happening due to the development projects or urbanization or industrialization happening. Most of the people are being displaced from the forest areas or the hilly areas, and this displacement results into making them more vulnerable or affects their right. Then another major concern is the gender inequality, where we are talking about the is gender inequality as well as harming the rights of the child. Then the climate crisis. So all these are interrelated and interdependent, and today in our we are going to understand is how to work on it. So environmental degradation, it impacts person, groups, and peoples, those who are already in vulnerable situations. And the impacts of the triple planetary crisis, which we talk about, is that augment the structure and other intersecting barriers they face. So human rights and the environment are interrelated, intertwined. We have the right to have a safe, clean, healthy, and sustainable environment. And these all come under our enjoyment of our human rights. Whereas, if we are living in polluted, hazardous, and otherwise unhealthy environments, these violate our human rights. So, all people have the right to a clean, healthy, and sustainable environment. We have the right to life, health, food, water, and sanitation and development. We have the right to information, participation, and access to justice. But with the developments which are happening, our rights are getting affected by it. It is not the what is happening in the environment, our rights getting affected, but we are also responsible for creating the climate crisis. So human activity, it has an environmental footprint. We can quantify the natural world and measure the ways in which we interact with it. Use of natural resources can promote a healthy environment, and thus we ourselves are responsible for protecting our human rights related to the environment. On 20th July 2022, um, this a landmark was resolution was adopted and recognizing the human right to a healthy environment. And the resolution, which followed recognition of the right by the Human Rights Council in October 2017, was an unprecedented decision adopted with unparalleled support. Means it got 161 votes in favor and no votes against, and 8 were the in abstentions. So this is the legal term as how this particular, when we are talking about the right to healthy environment. So the General Assembly, which is the principal policy making body of the UN, they came up with this resolution and they recognized that the human right to a healthy environment is a necessary or the need of the hour, and it sends a powerful message to across the world where it got the support from the maximum participants. Now, when we're talking about the healthy environment, so what are the elements of a healthy environment? We should be, although there is no, definition or no, generally where we can classify, okay, these are the elements, but based on the research on which the people have come up to this particular conclusion, that the healthy environment elements can be the substantive elements, which include, as you can see on the screen, it includes clean air, a safe and stable climate, access to safe water, and adequate sanitation, healthy and sustainably produced food, non-toxic environments in which to live, work, study, and play, and healthy biodiversity and ecosystems. The procedural elements include access to information, the right to participate in decision making, and access to justice and effective remedies, including the secure exercise of these rights free from reprisals and retaliation. Realizing the right to a healthy environment also requires international cooperation, solidarity, and equity in environmental action, including resource mobilization as well as recognition of extraterritorial jurisdiction over human rights caused by environmental degradation. So, for this, a human rights based approach is essential for the environmental protection, and it integrates the HRBA, which stands for Human Rights Based Approach. It integrates all human rights, including the right to a healthy environment and its substantive and procedural elements mentioned above, as well as human rights principles such as inclusivity and universality, equality, non-discrimination, and accountability. So this human rights based approach, it identifies and strengthens the relationship between duty bearers, human rights, um, with the human rights obligation and right holders who are immersed. Kindly give me a moment. I think my voice is echoing because I'm hearing it again and again. Just give me a second. I hope now you will be able to. Yes, now it is not echoing. Yeah, because the mic was on from the organizer's side also, so I have to unmute it. Now, coming back to my presentation, I will share the slides with you. I hope it is visible. Yeah. So when we are talking about the human right based approach, it identifies and strengthens the relationship between duty bearers, means the people, those who are responsible for uh, uh, implementing the law and order in the society, as well as the human right obligations and right holders, where we are talking about the right holders, those who are having the rights with them and who are empowered to hold duty bearers to account and to enjoy access to effective remedies for violations. So the right-based approaches to environmental decision making and policy development can provide the following benefits as they are listed on the slide, which you can see on the screen. The establishment of consistent global environmental human rights standards to facilitate interventions at the appropriate levels, which include local, national, regional, and international. Then strengthen capacities of state to meet their human rights and enhancing the accountability by enabling people to uphold their rights and to have more effective, legitimate, and sustainable outcomes. So we need to go for an inclusive approach where we are talking about the states, international organization, business enterprises, and other relevant stakeholders all need to adopt the policies to enhance international cooperation and strengthen capacity building and continue to share good practices in order to scale up efforts to ensure a cleaner and greener environment. So who has a role? Now the question comes, who has a role in realizing the right to a healthy environment? When we are talking about the inclusive approach, the government, which here I'm referring as states, and at the same time, everyone has the role to come with to implement this because we all need a healthy environment to survive. So at the same time, we all do have the accountability or responsibility also towards the healthy environment for making it the cleaner and greener environment. So the states or the political, the government, it has got a major role to play. It implements the implementation of rules and regulations on the domestic level, which is there, and it involves adopting appropriate constitutional, legislative, and policy reforms. It also involves promoting international cooperation because nowadays, in the era of globalization, if something is happening, for example, we can see war is happening in Ukraine. Does it affect us? Does it affect the environment of India or other countries? Yes, it does affect. So the state or the government have an obligation to cooperate internationally to realize the right to a healthy environment for all people. The courts and oversight mechanisms when we are talking about, so international, regional, and domestic courts, they should take active measures to respect, protect, and fulfill the right to a healthy environment. So they do have a major role in protecting the human rights. Then comes the role of the National Human Rights Institution. They also play a very important role in monitoring and reporting on the human right impacts of the climate change when we are talking about the participation in decision making and providing education on human rights, impacts of climate change, and policies. Do business organization have the role to play? Yes, they do have a major role to play because they have the responsibility to respect the human rights when they are doing the business. It is not just only the product selling, but they also need to focus on the kind of activities in which they are involved. It should be environment friendly and their product should promote the use of environment friendly approaches. So, with respect to environmentally impactful activities, the government or the state should ensure that the business perform their environmental and human rights assessments, and if they are not abiding by the rules and regulations, then they need to be the strict action need to be taken against them, because they have the business organization. They should respect the right to a healthy environment and should seek to actively engage in the activities which promotes the healthy environment. Next comes the development finance institutions. They do also have a major role, and the multinational enterprises should ensure that the projects they finance, they do not harm people. Like for example, setting up of any kind of development projects which they are um, um, doing the financing or giving money to set up, they should see that the organization should not use the money in such activities which is harming the climate. Otherwise, as what we have experienced various industrial disasters, the place to which I belong, I'm speaking from Bhopal. So the Bhopal gas tragedy, it will be going to be occurring again and again in different parts of the countries as well as in different parts of the world. Civil society organizations, they have a major active role in protecting the human rights related to the environment. And they are vital in creating, in making government realize as well as creating awareness among the public so as to incorporate the rules, the regulations which safeguard the human rights related to the environmental concerns. Individuals, yes, we as individuals are the right holders, no doubt, because we are all human beings, but at the same time, we also are the protectors of our environment. So, our rights is for us as well as for our planet, and we should stand up for the environment. So the particular term which you can find in, internationally it is being used is environmental human rights defenders, EHRDs. So these are the agents of change in protecting the environment and creating awareness in the society so as to like recently the various if we are talking about from our Indian perspective, then we had the movements of where the people started hugging the trees, and the as a result, the forest cutters, those who went in these areas, they they uh, refrained from it, and they stopped cutting the trees. So Bishnoi movement very much it was very well recognized, and it was the many in other countries, the in a non-violent way, these the examples from Indian scenario were taken, and they were implemented in other parts of the world also. So as we as an individual, if we are talking about attempting to bring any kind of change in the our environment, so we need the support of others also. We are all responsible for making the change in the environment. So cooperatively we all can come together, where it is not only the individual but also the state, the civil society organization, the business organization. We all in a cooperative way can deal with the climate crisis and can motivate the people to live a healthy and happy life. In this, I also want to focus on the environmental warning index system. It should be developed in each and every country, and we should be aware about it, as it help us in understanding with the help of the latest technology, as what are the various indicators and how we are going to control, or how we are going to respond to it. So the policy, what the processes which we need to adapt is the policy where a commitment and respect internationally recognized human rights should be there. Due diligence process should be there, where we have to identify actual and potential negative outcomes for people. We need to prevent and mitigate the actual and potential negative outcomes identified, and we should track ongoing management of human rights outcomes. And also, the communication should be strong to the clients, beneficiaries, and stakeholders. And we should be enabled to provide access to the remedy. The state has their own duty to protect the corporate responsibility. Business organization, they have their own duty to respect the environment in which they are operating their business, and also the access, that is the from the legal, from the law point of view, the remedy should be there if any person rights are being harmed or they are being violated. So to conclude, I will say that in order to build better, fairer, and greener societies that uplift and empower the most vulnerable, we need to come, we need to prioritize people and planet. We need to save our planet as there is no planet B. And it is our duty to protect our planet and to maintain the climate in a greener and in a healthy way. So this was about my presentation where I focused on adapting the inclusive approach in protecting human rights as well as the environmental conservation. If there is any question or anything you is there you want to ask, kindly ask, or you can share your own experiences when we are talking about the inclusive approach, जहाँ पे हम फोकस करते हैं कि एनवायरनमेंट को बचाना या जो भी चेंजेस हो रहे हैं हमारे एनवायरनमेंट में, ऑल्दो जब हम अपनी राइट की बात करते हैं तो एज एन इंडिविजुअल वी ऑलवेज कम फ्रंट कि ये हमारी राइट है, इसको हार्म नहीं होना चाहिए, हमारी राइट वॉयलेट नहीं होना चाहिए. बट हम जब बात करते हैं कि हमारी तरफ से एनवायरनमेंट कैसे प्रोटेक्ट होगा, तो वहां पे कहीं ना कहीं हमारी अपनी अप्रोच जो है वो कमजोर पड़ जाती है. एंड देयरफॉर वी नीड टू हैव एन inclusive approach where each one of us are responsible, just not for claiming our rights but also for promoting the cleaner and the greener environment, and what are our responsibilities, accountability are also important. I hope you all have enjoyed or you all have gained some new input from this session. And if there are no doubts, then the next speaker will be going to come and your online session will be going to continue. Thank you so much. I'm thankful to Dr. Mamta Sharma and all the organizing committee members for giving me the platform to share my views. Thank you so much.
क्या नाम था मैडम का?
Thank you so much, Ruchi ma'am. And next keynote speaker is Dr. Mohammad Asif. Dr. Mohammad Asif. Dr. Mohammad Asif, are you hearing? Wait for 2 minutes. Next keynote speaker is Dr. Morjon Anislag.
I request the organizers to kindly remove me from meeting host so that I can leave the meeting. Otherwise, if I am leaving the meeting, आपका रिकॉर्डिंग और आपका ये मीटिंग जो है वो खत्म हो रहा है तो मुझे मीटिंग होस्ट से हटा दिया जाए.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Okay.
थैंक यू.
Dr. Anislag.
अपन तो 75 से स्टार्ट कर देते हैं.
Hello. Hello. Sorry, sorry for a technical issue. We will come back after 10 minutes. Sorry.
Hello, hello, hello.
Dr. Selja Chauhan. Dr. Selja Chauhan, are you hearing my voice? Please unmute yourself and give presentation. Selja Chauhan. उसको random next बताओ.
सुधीर नहीं
Next बताओ.
इनमें देख लो इसे
Now it's okay, sir. You will proceed. We are already unmuted.
You are audible, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Sandhya, please unmute your.
तो जीएम कोविड तो जीएम कोविड
Dr. Sandhya,
Yes, sir.
yes, ma'am. Please.
Sir, is there my name in list? My number is 21, sir.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello. Dr. Sandhya, will you present?
Sir, can I present now? As my name is not announced.
हाँ नमस्ते मैडम.
हाँ सर, मैं अभी कर सकती हूँ क्या प्रेजेंटेशन? अभी नाम नहीं अनाउंस किया मेरा पर.
Dr. Sandhya,
Yes, sir.
madam give your presentation.
Okay, sir.
You can give oral presentation if you have not PPT. You can give oral presentation.
No, sir, I have PPT.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. Sir, can you able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, sir?
Yes, ma'am. You can proceed.
Okay, so myself, Dr. Sandha Tambekar Vanzari, I am the assistant professor in Dhotebandhu Science College, Gondia, Maharashtra. Here I am presenting a paper on prevalence of amylase producing bacteria and Lysine bacillus antilytics with the certain NCBI number. So Lonar Lake is an impact crater of the Maharashtra state, circular lake occupied by saline water. It is the largest lake in the world, third largest lake. It was created by 55,000 years ago by the meteoritic impact on the Mars. For thousands of years, there is a continuous accumulation of surface runoff water, rainwater, and it has no outlet for the release of this water. Hence, it harbors the various unidentified, unique haloalkalic bacterial bacillus species which produces thermohaloalkalic proteases. So, due to highly alkaline water, there is an absence of aquatic living organisms, excess spirulina, that is a algae, and the bacteria. So alpha amylase is one of the most important industrial enzymes having application in industries, baking, textiles, pharmaceuticals, starch processing, and detergents. So these amylase are some of the most versatile enzymes in the industrial enzyme, and account for approximately 25% of the enzyme market. Bacillus subtilis, Bacillus stereothermophilus, Bacillus licheniformis, Bacillus amylolicheniformis, Fresians are known as a good producer of the alpha amylase, and they are widely used in the commercial production of enzyme for the various applications. This alkaline amylase producing bacteria are of great importance of their high thermostability, pH stability, and most important industrial enzyme production. Therefore, an attempt was made to study the isolation, production, dynamics of amylase from the bacterial strain as well as from the alkaline Lonar Lake. So here we are collecting total water, 12 water samples from sediment and mat and water samples, and then they transfer to the 100 ml sterile distilled water and 25 ml of conical floss agitated for the 100 rotation per minute at 37 degrees centigrade. This sample was heated for 80 degrees centigrade for 15 minutes to destroy all the vegetative microbial cells. Then 1 ml of each diluted sample was inoculated in the Horikoshi medium that is specially designed for that type of the amylase producing organisms, and incubated at 37 degrees for 74 hours. After enrichment, the culture was inoculated on the nutrient agar and incubated at 37 degrees centigrade for 24 hours for the well-distant colonies which are observed for stock the nutrient agar culture. So individual bacterial colonies were screened for amylotic activities on the starch agar medium, and zone of hydrolysis was recorded. After all, this amylase processes were identified based on the morphological, biochemical, and culture characteristics, and also we are doing the 16S RNA gene sequencing culture on the Agarkar Research Institute of the Pune. So the amylase assay was carried out with the particular DNS method, that is diagnostosalicylic method, and we are estimated amylase in certain amount. So this is the material matter in the full sheet. So result and discussion for the when we are going to do for the temperature, the optimum temperature was found for this amylase producing organism was the 60. Then the pH was found at the 10. Optimum enzyme concentration for the producing the activity of amylase that found the 2 microliter per ml of the enzyme concentration. Substance was found to be the 3 to 3.5 milligram per ml. So here is the cultural, morphological, biochemical test of the selected organism, that is Lysiniformis xanthophilus, which are found in the Lonar Lake of the certain samples. This is the gram characters, shape of bacteria, and all the necessary cultural, morphological tests for the proving that this bacteria is a Lysine-Bacillus xanthophilus. So from this data, it shows the maximum amylotic activity was observed at 60 degrees centigrade at pH. The optimal enzyme concentration was found to be the 2 microliter per ml, and substrate concentration 1.5 microgram per ml. So here is the 16S RNA gene sequencing which are found, which are produced by the Agarkar Research Institute of the Pune, and they are given a certain NCBI number for this particular organism, that is Lysine Bacillus xantholyticus. So conclusion is that the halophilic Haloalkalophilic lacinate xanthillus was isolated from the alkaline lunar lake and it exhibited amylase active in extrophilic conditions. So novel feature of this enzyme such as stability over the wide range of the pH, that is 6 to 12, temperature that is 40 to 80, salt concentration that is 0.8 10% make the attractive candidate for the future studies and development process. So the production of this enzyme with these sources would be economically attractive, and the valuable information of the enzyme production optimization by the extremophilic bacteria is Laciniphilus xanthillus. So amylase from the Laciniphilus xanthillicus has the bright future toward the improvement and production of novel enzymes for entirely new areas of the industrial and biochemical applications. So this is all about my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your presentation is very nicely present. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, sir.
Hello, sir. Hello,
Yes,
sir.
ma'am.
I am Ishita. I was supposed to present yesterday, but due to technical difficulties, we could not connect. Can I present today?
Yes, ma'am. You can present. You want to present just now, after some time?
No, I can do it right away if it is okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
After that, my next keynote speaker, Marijon Anislag. After presenting Isita Devgan.
Hello.
Most welcome, ma'am. You can proceed.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I don't have a PowerPoint presentation. I will be presenting orally. Is that okay, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Um, so, hello everyone. I am Ishita Devgan. I'm a research scholar from SKD University, Rajasthan. I am pursuing my research in the field of circular agriculture. Uh, I am undertaking a comparative analysis of circular agriculture and linear agriculture, comparing their profitability and sustainability in the area of Kagar Plains of Rajasthan. Uh, I speak here because I'm writing a paper on the topic of emerging practices in environment conservation. Mm. Environment in contemporary times, my friends, need help and conservation in every form or aspect of it, from air to water to energy to natural resources to biodiversity, and more importantly, and most importantly, the soil and land of the world. Uh, in my research paper, my focus of research would be soil conservation. Soil is the skin of earth. We would not like to live with a diseased skin, should we? Healthy soil is basis of a healthy life. Um, can you imagine that one handful of soil has more microorganism than there is a population of this whole earth? So this world beneath our feet is so incredibly alive.
Excuse me, ma'am.
But
Sorry for disturbing. You make only oral presentation, yeah, any PPT.
no, sir, I don't have a PPT.
Okay.
I'm just
Just
making an oral presentation because my full paper has to be submitted on 20th of February.
okay, ma'am. Just continue.
All right. So, as I was saying that soil is the skin of earth. No one wants to live with a diseased skin. Not me at least. Soil is life. A healthy life is equal to healthy soil. We come from soil, we go in soil. One handful of soil has more microorganisms than there is this population on the earth. So, how incredibly alive this world beneath our feet is. But sadly, 25% of world soil is degraded because of overexploitation or careless or abusive use for agriculture, urbanization, industrialization. And India, which is basically a agrarian economy, has also lost 30% of its soil. 30% of soil is dead, gone. We cannot cultivate it. So, in my research paper, I am mostly going to elaborate on what is our soil, how important it is, how it is getting degraded, What are the types of soil gradations that are happening in today's world? How nature naturally degrades soil, and how does man today, due to its uh, endeavors or say overexploitation or its greed, taking away the health or life from the soil, and how are these damages going to disrupt our life and the life of our future generations. Then I will be elaborating on what are the conventional remedial practices that may come to save or that may be the savior of our soil. Since we are agro-based economy and agriculture is the biggest culprit here because of heavy chemicals in tillage, our soil and the microbial life in the soil is dying. My concentration will be on regenerative or circular agriculture. Circular agriculture, if employed, can not only give us our soil's health back, but also it can be instrumental in increasing the profitability and sustainability of farming. We rely on farming and agriculture. So we really need these kind of remedies if we have to sustain for our future generations. Well, today it is so cold in northern Rajasthan. You cannot bear the excruciating cold. These are one of the examples of extreme weather changes and global warming. Soil, my dear friends, does not only have capacity to give life, but it also has capacity to save lives. You may not believe, but only 2% of soil's carbon, if increased, can eliminate the entire excess carbon from the environment. How easy is that, or how difficult is that? Very difficult. We have to work very hard. Soil, my friends, is a non renewable natural resource. It cannot be renewed. To create only 1 centimeter of soil, it may take hundreds and thousands of years. We cannot do it in one human lifespan. Not at all. We have to work hard for generations and generations and generations just to create 1 centimeter of soil. So, why shouldn't we realize the fact that soil is going away, and if it goes away, we go away? Indian government, giving respect to the fact, has introduced Bharatiya Prakritik Krishi Padhati to promote natural or regenerative farming. They have also introduced the Capital Investment Subsidy Scheme under Soil Health and Management. So let's endeavor to save soil and in turn save our lives. So my paper will be presented or will be submitted on 20th before 20th of February. This was just an introduction or to the structure of body of my paper. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your presentation is very nice. Your information is very good and well.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, sir, myself, Sandhya, can you note down my number, presentation number?
Yes, ma'am.
My presentation number is 21 and repeated on 25, sir. So you can note down that I already presented.
Okay, ma'am. I will.
Okay, sir.
Uh,
Sir,
our,
my serial number is 28.
yes,
Ishita
ma'am.
Devgan, yeah? Yeah,
Yes,
28.
we can do it.
Sir, I have already presented. I was just following Dr. Sandhya Tambrikar. I thought I will also tell you. मेरा serial number 28 है sir. मैंने present कर दिया है. आप उसको थोड़ा cut कर दें.
Okay.
ठीक है sir. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Next keynote speaker, Dr. Anisley.
Sir, thank you so much. This time I have to share my slide.
Good morning, sir.
I have to share my slide, sir.
Yes, sir. You can present your slide.
Hello, sir. Have you seen my slide?
Your slide is nicely visible, sir.
My voice is clear.
Yes, your voice is very clear, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Um, Good day to one and all, most especially to Dr. Hokam Singh, Patron and Principal of RRC Alwar, and Dr. Mamta Sharma, Organizing Secretary of RRC Alwar, for inviting me to be one of your keynote speakers for this international conference on multidisciplinary aspects of human rights and the environment with the support of Commissionerate Government of Rajasthan, India. Before I will start to discuss my topic, which is agroforestry to human rights on environmental protection for this session, let me inform you that I am Marjan Villamor Anislag, Assistant Professor from Surigao del Norte State University of the Philippines. And I am a proud member of our religion, Iglesia ni Cristo, or Church of Christ. Moreover, I am a researcher on environmental protection and conservation here in my country, Philippines. Today, I am about to share with you the topic agroforestry to human rights on environmental protection because previous reports and concerns that are published in most journals, we people are the one who destroys the environment. But as of this time, I just want to provide you an awareness that we have a significant role in restoring and conserving our environment by using the agroforestry systems. The contents of this presentation are the introduction, which focusing and highlights the environmental problems and objectives to conserve the environment, agroforestry practices that can conserve the degraded environment, conclusion, and recommendation. Today's problem, environment has been degraded because of mining exploration and operation, road construction, and maintenance. Moreover, deforestation activities in every place for the conversion of forest land to, to residential and industrial land that can generate erosion, contamination, alteration of soil profiles, contamination of local streams and wetlands, dust, emissions, and climate change as a whole. Further, can eliminate biodiversity and the loss of our economy. These problems are a big deal to any one of us because they also affect our human health and daily needs. Thus, address to the above problems, the objective of this presentation is to provide awareness about the human rights to protect the environment by using agroforestry practices. Agroforestry is a science and farming system in which forestry practices and agricultural practices are joined together, such as planting high-value trees and shrubs species, plus planting annual crops on a parcel of land. Agroforestry is the best technology that humans can be used to restore the degraded environment brought on by mining activities and deforestation for several reasons. Moreover, every person has the right to restore the degraded landscapes and environments by using agroforestry practices. Among them that are very useful to conserve the degraded environment are the taungya, alley cropping, a combination of plantation crops, mixed tree gardens, and forest farming. These agroforestry farm practices have different definitions, but they have the same impacts on environmental conservation. Each of them can bring back the fertility of the soils, clean the contaminated soils, and water with toxic chemicals, promote biodiversity, and mitigate the climate change impacts. Further, any one of us has the right to be a leader and establish this type of farming system to conserve our environment. Regardless of gender, every person has the right to establish a taungya system to restore the degraded environment in our country to sustain our family's needs and safety. Taungya is an agroforestry farm practice in which land is cleared and planted initially for food crops. Seedlings of a desirable timber species are then planted on the same plot of land, either in combination with the food crops or following several years of cultivation. This agroforestry farm practice is very helpful to restore the degraded environment, particularly on the degraded landscapes. It's because it helps to cover the open land that is prone to soil erosion and mass landslide. Moreover, planted annual food crops provide food and a source of income for the farmers to sustain their daily needs. Further, this agroforestry farm practice can invite employment to those people who are unemployed. The growing tree species can now the habitats of the animals which can lead to biodiversity improvement and sequestration of carbon dioxides through the process of photosynthesis. Add on, this agroforestry practice can be very helpful to bring back the fertility of the soils and alleviate the contaminated toxic chemicals in the ground through the process of metal uptake capacity of the trees. Lastly, this is recommended to intercrop all types of annual crops and perennial crops that you think are beneficial for food sources, timber production, and source of income. This can be also applied to any type of land formation, problems, and climatic condition. We have the right to establish alley cropping to sustain our own needs and conserve our environment. Alley cropping is an agroforestry farm practice in which we can plant annual crops in the rows of trees and or shrubs to create alleys within which agricultural or horticultural crops are produced. The objective of this agroforestry farm practice is for food production for humans and livestock. production of timber and fuel while maintaining soil fertility and avoidance of soil erosion. Moreover, this can be applied either in deforested areas or in mined out areas. For the deforested areas where we know that there are no contaminated toxic chemicals, is cropping of food crops plus timber production or hedgerows. We should have to plant those leguminous trees and shrubs and or fruit trees in interval rows that can be trimmed annually as a source of forage for livestock, fuel wood, and food crops for humans. Further, they can be the habitat of the wild animals that are responsible for pollination. And in the lower biomass, the roots can be associated with the beneficial microorganisms that will work together with leguminous tree species to fix the nitrogen that are available from the environment, which can bring back the fertility of the soils. And in the space between rows is called an alley. This is the intended space for annual crop production like cereals, beans, root crops, fiber crops, and etc. Plantation of food crops in deforested areas is safe for human consumption. So this is very advisable for us to develop cropping in the deforested landscapes. However, in the mined out areas, the design for cropping is about integrating either leguminous trees or shrubs plus the annual crops that are known as endemic and metal-eating plant species. This cropping approach is very useful to remove the toxic chemicals in the soils that are also dangerous for plants, animals, and human beings. The importance of this cropping practice to restore the degraded environment is for alleviating poverty and toxic chemicals in the soils and climate change impacts. The combination of plantation crops is another agroforestry practice that we can use to restore the degraded environment. This is an agroforestry practice containing plantation crops such as coffee, cocoa, tea, rubber, all palm, spices, coconut, fruit crop, shade trees, fuel wood, fodder trees, and shade-tolerant herbaceous crops as its main components. This agroforestry practice can be recommended in an open landscape that does not undergo mining activities, but for landscapes that are open due to deforestation and logging purposes only. The advantage of this agroforestry practice is the production of food crops that will sustain our own needs and the country as a whole. This practice can be creating more economic for the community and also alleviates poverty, crimes, and unemployment. Moreover, this can maintain soil fertility and water quality. This is because the root system of trees is responsible to absorb the excess fertilizers that are supposed to contaminate the water table and bodies of water. And this process can be the reason for the maintenance of clean water that we are enjoying. That risk can be a big factor in the success of the infiltration rate of rainwater going to the water table instead of creating floods. Once there is a tree plantation, it is expected that the soils are not compacted, so there is no hindrance to the infiltration rate of the rainwater going to the water table. Tree canopies can be the flowing instrument of rainwater to be successfully infiltrated going to the water table. On the other side, during sunny days, trees can control the evapotranspiration rate because their tree canopies can control the heat impacts on the environment, which is the reason that will not affect the quality of water in the river systems. So, a combination of plantation crops can assure the restoration of degraded landscapes, which are prone to soil erosion. Instead, a method for the production of food crops, fuel wood, and forages, and at the same time can maintain the fertility of soils and water quality and quantity. Mixed tree gardens are designed to bring back the beauty of the degraded landscapes. This can control erosions and can promote biodiversity. This is commonly used to restore mined-out areas through rehabilitation activities. The main purpose of this type of tree gardening is to restore mined-out areas and promote biodiversity. Moreover, this can help to mitigate climate change, control soil erosion, and alleviate the contaminated toxic chemicals. Further, this can help to bring back the fertility of the soils and maintain the beneficial microorganisms in the soils. And on the other hand, it helps to maintain the quality and quantity of the water. Forest farming is the cultivation process of high-value specialty crops under a forest canopy that is intentionally modified or maintained to provide shade levels and habitat that favor growth and enhance production levels. In the Philippines, mining companies have used this type of agroforestry farming system to restore the mined out areas. The benefit of having this farm practice is to perfectly restore the mined out areas using the endemic tree species, which can help to mitigate climate change, soil erosion, and contaminated toxic chemicals. Further, this can help to bring back the fertility of the soils, maintain the beneficial microorganisms, and water quality and quantity. Any one of us, regardless of gender, can have the right to agroforestry establishments to restore the degraded environment. These are the tasks that everyone can be done and manage. Moreover, agroforestry can promote gender equality and rights to restore degraded landscapes and provides food for a family, community, and country as a whole. Agroforestry is a science-based farming practice that is very helpful to fight climate change impacts due to carbon sequestration in the environment, which controls global warming, poverty, and malnutrition. Further, agroforestry farm practices empowered and promote the right of women, youth, students, farmers, and academicians in the protection and conservation of our degraded environment for the benefit of the future generation. Adapting and practicing agroforestry systems at our level can contribute positive impacts on the mitigation of climate change, poverty, crimes, and malnutrition. This presentation is recommended for seriously studying agroforestry farming systems and practices suited to apply per country's problem on the environment. Agroforestry is the best action for every woman, youth, and farmer, or even farm educator, because agroforestry is not only for environmental protection, but a good source of family income and livelihood while maintaining environmental protection and cares. That's all, and thank you. At this juncture, I am open to answering your questions.
Uh, Hello, sir. This was a very nice presentation and very informative. I want to ask you, of all the practices that you shared here today, which can be most economically viable for a medium scale farmer in India, in Indian landscape? It is quite similar.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for your question. I think the most appropriate agroforestry practice that can be applied in the landscape of India is cropping for for the purpose of income generation, generating income of the farmers. Likewise, a protection of the environment. Thank you.
Sir, to further that, what are the economic aspects of alley cropping for a small to medium scale farmer? If he wants to take up that on a chemically exploited land and take up alley cropping, so how long will it take to transform that piece of land and show results and also profitability?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your second question. The economic value of applying alley cropping as one of the agroforestry practices that I am sharing this afternoon is that it helps for the farmer to have a long-term income, source of livelihood, and this is no limitation for the farmers to establish this type of plantation. But the method that a farmer use will be intercrop a different variety of annual crops to the perennial crops. Say for example, you have the perennial crops, which are the three species are already established. So in order that does the soil surfaces will not be depleted in terms of fertilizers, so better that there will be an crop rotation in between the alleys. So as part of my research conducted here in my country, um, I found that through alley cropping of sweet potato varieties and mulberry trees, I think mulberry trees is known in India. So the farmers got highest income per hectare of their land. Then during the time when I evaluated the NPK contents of the soil, I observed that there was no there was increase of the nitrogen and the organic matter. So this alley cropping agroforestry practice can be very helpful to alleviate the poverty of our farmers. Likewise, very helpful to maintain the fertility of our soils. Likewise, can mitigate the impacts of climate change. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking my questions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Your
Thank you, sir.
presentation is very good and nicely explained.
Thank you, sir.
Any participant that is absent yesterday can present now. Due to technical reason, yesterday present can present now. Next one. Next participant is Dr. Meghna Meena. She is absent. Next participant, Dr. Muhammad Sai. Next. Anju Sangwar. Sonali Goel. Next. Sunita. Zulfia Singh. Dr. Kanhaiya. एक मिनट. Dr. Pramod. Next one. Mrs. Salini. है उनका. Shruti Tandon.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. And thanks to the organizer. Really, you people have raised a good point. And definitely, from yesterday, we are listening various speakers. And the core theme they are covering is the protection of environment with the consensus of human rights. As we all know that we human beings are natural environment creators and survivors. Therefore, the natural gift of nature is our duty to protect it, to make proper use of that, and to become a part of the sustainable development. Environmental rights are human rights. Environmental rights mean access to unspoiled natural resources that enable survival, including land, shelter, food, water, and air. The right for an individual to enjoy unspoiled landscape. Our vision of environmental rights include political rights like rights for indigenous people and other collectivities, the right to information and participation in decision making, freedom of opinion and expression, the rights to resist unwanted developments. We also believe in the right to reparations for violated rights of climate refugees and other displaced due to climate changes. These rights have arisen over recent years due to the acceptance of economic globalization and accompanying environmental destruction and social disruption. Similarly, the right to claim ecological debit have emerged as the result of long-term campaign by friends of the earth for the recognition of the impacts of resource depletion in northern hemisphere and natural destruction in southern countries. The present developmental goals that the United Nations is pursuing are primarily oriented towards sustainable world. There is a recognition that the planet we inhabit needs to be sustained while we are developing and marching towards progress. The environment that has been sustaining us has been exposed to human activities and experiments throughout history. Our relationship with our environment is largely dictated by our ability to understand and communicate with our surrounding, which results in development. Thus, there is an important need to understand the relationship between health and environmental sanitation for a good life. My theme of presentation focus on the environmental sanitation need of the hour, as environmental sanitation is a major public health issue in India. Environment and health are related to one another from a human right perspective. International concerns with human rights, health, and environmental protection have expanded considerably in the past several decades. When we talk about environmental sanitation, it is important to understand that environmental sanitation is the art and science of applying sanitary, biological, and physical science principle and knowledge to improve and control the environment and facts therein for the protection of health and welfare of the public. Environmental sanitation depends on factors that include hygiene, status of the people, types of resources, innovative and appropriate technologies according to the requirement of the community, socio-economic development of the country, legislative measures adopted, and others. Total Sanitation Campaign gives strong emphasis on information, education, and communication, capacity building, and hygiene education for effective behaviors changes with involvement of community-based organization, NGOs, and Panchayati Raj institutions. The need of the hour is to identify the existing system of environmental sanitation with respect to its structure and functioning and to prioritize the control strategies according to the needs of the country. There is a strong need to apply sustainable framework and strengthening capacity building in technological, social, as well as the delivery and monitoring mechanism of sanitation program in our country. It should be remembered that a sustainable framework of sanitation must be economically viable, socially acceptable, easily maintainable, and technologically appropriate with a range of technology choices and should be environmentally friendly. It is important to note that increasing emphasis on the use of information technology application in urban governance and management to ensure quick access to information, planning, and decision support system are the primary concern areas related to environmental sanitation. Some strategies on solid waste management include preparation of twin-wise, town-wise master plans, training of municipal staff. Awareness generation is also required for urban sanitation. It is important to retreat the need for the rural water supply and sanitation and urban water supply and sanitation agencies to operate hand in hand with their health and education counterparts in order to make significant heading in their respective sectors. Variation in housing type, density, settlement, poverty status, and access to network services will lead to different solutions for sanitation in different parts of the city or within the same neighborhood for urban sanitation. No doubt. Article 47 of Indian Constitution, the directive principle of the state policy says that it should be the duty of the state to raise the level of nutrition and standard of living and to improve public health. Accepting its seriousness, a National Health Policy 2017 has been announced after a gap of 15 years, which sets the ambitious target of gradually increasing public health expenditure to 2.5% of GDP and policy shift in primary health care. Now, the attention is not only on the physical fitness but also on the mental health. At the same time, government approach is moving away from mere being healthy towards wellness, which is a more wholesome concept. But sustainability of health and environmental sanitation is a key challenge. Sustainability is not only related to the physical part of the issues, it additionally covers the physiological aspects where the attitude, behavior, and cultural belief of the society should be changed, and people should accept the improved mean of sanitation rather continuing the decade old practices. In this shift from fitness to wellness, traditional Indian medicine system are also going to play an important role. So let's work together to make our India Swachh Bharat, Swasth Bharat. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Your presentation is very informative.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Pranjal Misra. एक मिनट रुको. No. Next, Meenakshi Kumawar. Dr. Rajni Chobe. Next. Aarti Rose. She is present. Aarti Rose, are you hearing? Aarti Rose.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. You want to present?
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Can I start?
You can proceed now. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. First of all, namaste to everyone and all present here. Myself, Aarti Ross. I am a research scholar at Banasthali Vidyapeeth from the Department of Commerce and Management of Dr. Ankur Joshi. Uh, though the topic of the conference is related to the environment, my topic is slightly different as it is a multidisciplinary conference. So here my topic is relevance of ancient scriptures in modern management. Uh, Bharat is one of the oldest civilization of the world. It has a dynamic culture,
Excuse me, ma'am.
and there are
It is oral
various
presentation
great
and
ancient
PPT slides.
Yes, sir.
This is oral presentation and PPT slides.
This is the oral presentation.
You want to show any PPT slide? Okay, ma'am.
This is the oral presentation, sir. Can I? Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Continue, ma'am. Continue. You are audible, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Bharat is one of the oldest civilization of the world. As we know, the Bharat has a very dynamic culture, and the ancient heritage of our India is enshrined in various great epics such as Vedas, Upanishads, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Gita, Arthashastra, Manusmriti, etc. As we know, as at present, India being a rapidly developing country, the organizations are facing tumultuous changes. These changes are going to be so taking and turbulent transformation of the organization. It could result in a the ancient sources of wisdom the ancient sources of wisdom had mentioned these changes and transformation in living organisms and the non-living things. The profound wisdom of Upanishad has been expressed. Know yourself by knowing thyself. In these turbulent changes in the organization, only person can emerge as a successful administrator who is very much aware of his and her true self. Gita has proclaimed that if modern day administrators must be guided by a different work ethic, practice, and discipline, but without attachment and obsession with its reward and the results. There are valuable ideas of management in Arthashastra, Mahabharata, Ramayana, and Manusmriti as well. The ancient scriptures have shown the right path and helped to realize the goals to the people since the time immemorial. The ancient wisdom provides a broad range of choice of ways to manage the self, people, society, and the organizations. Although not all of them are directly focused on management of organizations, they are significant sources. There are significant sources which can help to develop strategies and principles for management. There are various insights from the ancient scriptures related to the nature of reality, life, and the organizations. The administrator, also known as the executive, as a yogi, self awareness and self perception, the nature of learning, the art of bargaining, and the industrial relations, importance of trusteeship, and the organizational strategies. Here, my objective is to understand the relevance of the ancient scriptures in a modern management with special reference to the Gita, Arthashastra, and Manusmriti. We can take the ideas from Arthashastra, Gita, and Manusmriti to managing the self, to managing the organization, and to managing the state and the society. To managing the self, if a person implement the ideas of Gita, Arthashastra, and Manusmriti in their practical life, they can make the decisions fairly, they can manage the stress, and their spiritual orientation will be enhanced. To manage the organization, we can take various insights from the Arthashastra regarding the leadership qualities. The total quality of management will be enhanced by taking the ideas from these scriptures. To manage the state and society, there are various ideas related to the welfare state, protection of resources, and the judicious use of power. These uh, these uh, these ancient scriptures helping us from the uh, from very far, from since the time immemorial. There are various other ideas related to the wages and the salary administration from the Arthashastra, such as the human resource the human resource have to arrange a satisfactory salary arrangement with the employees. The Kautilya have given elaborate rules regarding the contract of labor between the two parties, employer and the employee. There should be the obligation of employees, and there should be the obligations for the there should be the obligation of the employees, and there should be obligation of the employer as well. They also wrote about the rights of the employee and the rights of the employers as well. Uh, as we know, we are nowadays we are getting trapped into the Western theories and the practices. So
Here, the need of the hour is to realize our goal, realize the main aim of the educational institutions so that they can use the concepts of the Arthashastra and so that not only the Arthashastra, the whole scriptures to impart the knowledge to the students. As we here in Banastali Vidyapeeth, the Banastali Vidyapeeth is introducing various courses related to the Indian ethos and human quality so that we can produce the good managers and the leaders for our Bharat. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, thank you. Your information is very good.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Next keynote speaker, Dr. Sasi Bala. Sasi sir. Dr. Sasi Sharma. Dr. Sasi Sharma.
Just a minute. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. So much audio.
Give me a minute to start my presentation.
Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I haven't prepared any PPT presentation, so may I continue to give it orally?
Yes, ma'am. You can give
Uh,
oral presentation.
Thank you so much. As it is regarding feral dogs, which are becoming a big threat to wildlife and humans as well. I'm. I want to tell you about my observations. As I am a wildlife photographer, so I used to go outskirts of cities and in jungles also. So there I have seen that these feral dogs are becoming an increasing threat to wildlife protection, and which in turn uh, is not healthy for for our ecosystem, balancing our ecosystem. As I have seen, they are especially there is competition between these feral dogs and especially for vultures for food. those vultures which are dependent on dead animals for their food, these feral dogs not only eat that food, but also they kill vultures which are um, included in a ICUN red list as threatened species. अब बात ये आती है कि हम इन feral dogs को कंट्रोल कैसे करें, and for humans also they are becoming a big threat because they are carrier of rabies, and it is um, depicted from data that in India, rabies cases are increasing drastically. So we have to manage the population of feral dogs. And one suggestion is these are need to be castrated, or their population should be in control manner, so that they do not interfere in ecosystem balance. So I suggest more technical and a balanced research, so that proper data can be generated, and a policy can be made in order to um, make these feral dogs population controlled. Thank you so much. This is what all I want to say.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your information is very informative. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next board. Next speaker is Durga Khatri. Next. एक मिनट. एक मिनट. Next speaker is Margi Joshi. Margi Joshi.
Yes, sir. I'm audible, sir.
Yes, ma'am. You can present.
Yes, sir. Sir, my screen is visible now.
Yes, ma'am.
My screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am. Your screen is very good visible.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Margi Joshi. I'm research scholar from the Department of Hospital Management, and I am doing my PhD in the field of use of contraceptive among reproductive age women. My presentation topic is India's progress towards the achieving global goals on family planning. In that, today's our greatest threat on the country's economic, social, and political development is the uncontrolled population. Even though we are the first in the world that we implemented National Population Control Program in 1952. Till date, we are focusing on the focusing on the control of the population. But according to the current scenario, we need to focus on the sustainable development goals for the maternal and child health, even spacing methods, and reduce the unwanted and missed time pregnancies. So I collected data from the web and different guidelines of the government. When we see the current scenario of the world, this is the period of unprecedentedly rapid demographic changes, and our current world population is 7.9 billion. According to the United Nations report, which was launched in 2017, by 21st century, it will be the 11.2 billion population.
And this gap between the India and China is narrowing day by day, while the gap between the India and USA is widened day by day. It shows that we need to focus on our population control, and one day maybe the India will surpass the population of the China till very soon. Then we can see the fertility trend in the India. What is the mean by fertility? It is the actual bearing of the child between the age of 15 to 45 years. This higher fertility rate in India is attributed to the many factors like universality of the marriage, then lower age at the marriage, low level of literacy, poor level of living, limited use of the contraceptives, and the traditional way of the life. These are the main factor which affecting on the population. This fertility trend has started declining, but even though it is the 2.1 in 2009, then the reason is the unmet need. What is meant by unmet need? It is the need of the woman who sexually active but not using any kind of contraceptives and even not wanting a child. But these affect on the our current population. Why and what are the reason for this unmet need? It is
Excuse me, ma'am.
inconvenient
Sorry
and
for disturbing.
unsatisfactory services,
Excuse me, ma'am.
lack of information. Sorry, sir.
Sorry for disturbing. Your slide is not
Okay,
moving. Your slide is not moving. It is
just a
only
minute.
first slide.
Okay, sir. I'm reshare. Now it's
Ma'am, please start your presentation again. It is closed now.
yes, sir. Is it visible now, sir?
No, ma'am. Ma'am, please share again. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Visible,
Please
sir?
select with the help of mouse, then you can move it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks and continue.
Is it moving, sir?
Yes, ma'am, it's moving.
Okay, sir. This unmet need is reason for that is inconvenient and unsatisfactory services, then lack of information regarding the use of contraception and where to buy it, then the fear about the side effect of the contraceptives, then opposition from the husband or relatives, then religious belief, etc. These all are the impacting on our unmet need. According to the National Family Health Survey, which was launched in 2021, the unmet need for the family planning was 9.4%, and it was for spacing it was 4%. Then our different program also running for the family planning, like 50 in 1951 National Family Planning Program was launched for the population stabilization, but now it uh, transfer to the reproductive health and reduce the maternal, infant, and child mortality and morbidity ratio. Then in 2016, Government of India launched the Mission Parivar Vikas to substantially increase the access to contraceptives and family planning services in the 146 high fertile districts of the 7 high focus states, which are the Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and Assam, having the total fertility rate of more than 3. Then recently at the international conference on the family planning, India was the only country who awarded with the excellence in the leadership in family planning, Excel Award. Then we are focusing on the sustainable development goal, which was previously focused on the millennium development goals. In that, MDG 5 is related to the improved maternal health. In this, the universal access to reproductive health, including family planning. Then, after the successful of the MDG goals, the world accepted the 17 SDGs. Among them, Sustainable Development Goal 3 is related to the ensuring healthy lives and promoting well-being for all at the all ages.
In that, the target 3.7 was indicated ensuring universal access to sexual and reproductive healthcare services, including the family planning, information and education, and the integration of reproductive health into national strategies and programs by 2030. In that, the sub indicator 3.7.1 is specifically focusing on the use of contraceptives, which is translated as that the percentage of married women ages 15 to 49 years whose need for family planning is satisfied with the modern method of contraception. It will be helpful for coverage of family planning program and services, access and use of contraceptives. Uh, According to the National Family Health Survey 5th, the current use of family planning method is nearly 66.7% women who are using any kind of method. Among them, the 37.9% female going through the female sterilization and only 0.3% using the male sterilization, which is less popular in our country. So we have to focus on the wider use of the any kind of method which is used by the woman, so we can control our populations. So which are the challenges which impact on the use of contraceptives? So contraceptives available at the public hospital and sub centers, but there is a lack of awareness regarding the same in most of the population. Even though many of them are not aware of how and where to purchase, this is also because of inconvenient and unsatisfactory services. Lack of the information regarding contraceptive and from where to buy and how to buy. Then the fear about the side effects of contraceptives. Then opposition from husbands, relatives. Then the preference for a male child and religious belief. These all are challenging factors which we need to uh, focus that we can control our populations. Then conclusion, despite having the services available in India, there is a requirement for the public awareness for the use of contraceptives for reduction in the protected intercourse and unintended pregnancies. For the same, we need to increase the use of information and communication technologies. Then the formula like delay the first child, postpone the second child, and prevent the third child. Else we will soon surpass the China in the populations. Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. I completed my presentation. Hello.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your presentation is very informative. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Our next speaker is Dr. Pramod Kumar. Dr. Pramod Kumar. Are you hearing? Next. Next. Dr. Pramod Kumar, you want to present? Next. Next, बताओ. Dr. Seema Mathur. Amrita Singh. Seema Tripathi. Seema Tripathi. Seema Tripathi, if you want to present.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wait, wait.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Uh, Good afternoon. The tradition-oriented Indian society has experienced various changes in the last 7 or 8 decades. The process of industrialization, urbanization, and secularization have brought about politico-economic, cultural, and social psychological changes in the life patterns and attitudes of the people of this country, especially among the urban population. One of the most fundamental and far reaching social changes brought about after India's independence has been the emancipation of women for their tradition ridden ethos. The socio-economic emancipation of women in India has brought in its train changes in their status and outlook. The vitally affected area of this change have been the vital relationship between man and women. Thus, women who has dissatisfied with the inhibiting cultural and sexual roles assigned to her from the unconsciousness dawn of the patri- patriarchal India is now gaining strength to rebel against the cultural social oppressions.
Yes, ma'am. Do continue. It is complete.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. रुको, एक मिनट रुको. है नहीं. आसिफ साहब. हिमांशु सिंह महावर. Next. Mrs. Rohini. Next. हाँ हाँ सुमन में. सुमन मीना. Next. Next. Sorry for technical delay. Dr. Muhammad Asif Saha. Welcome, sir. Dr. Muhammad Asif Saha.
Yes.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You're audible.
Actually, I had planned to leave because it was. I hope the slides are we can say visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Slide is
okay.
very
Thank you so much.
good visible,
Okay,
sir.
thank you so much. So, sorry, actually, I have closed my laptop. I was planning to go back because we have to leave here the university at 11:45. It is a very hot zone here. So I was waiting for 30 minutes. So I could not get the turn right now. I will be doing my presentation a little bit fast, not that much. So I will take time, nearly 30 minutes. So this is Dr. Muhammad Asif. I'm actually an Indian citizen. Uh, Currently working in Ethiopia. First of all, I thank all the people who are behind all this scenario, even Professor Mamta Sharma, who has invited me. Thanks for inviting. Thanks for giving me the chance to present myself. I will be discussing, as the title of this presentation I have seen is Human Rights and the Environment. So I will be going with the title, and then I will little bit, we can say, go a little bit sideways, because I hope that people are covering the things, the human rights, the laws, and the environment too much in detail. So here, when we see that in past few years, we have observed that people are talking too much about the environmental rights, because we have always been hearing about the climate change, and this climate change is impacting different, we can say, species. It is not only human beings, it is not only we people that we are getting impacted. A lot of species and even non-living things as well, all the ecosystem around us, whether it is living or non-living, it is getting impacted like anything. So this is a case where we need to talk about continuously, where we need to work out continuously, and where we need to draft our policies continuously if we want to live for, we can say, our future generations, and if we wish that the future generations they also continue to live. But most of the times we hear the term sustainability, or you hear the word sustainable development or sustainable growth. So it is not only we, or we can say the humans. As I already said, that there are many other allied species who also have the right to live. So now when we talk about the international human rights, we have been discussing about the human rights over the many years. And the environment which is getting degraded because of our activities. And then we will face the consequences of this as well. We are facing the negative consequences of this well, because it is like the concept of karma in our India, or we can say in our culture we have the concept of karma. Karma means that you do good, you will have good. This environment, if we are taking care of it, it will take care of us. If we are not taking care of it, it will definitely have a disaster. And ultimately, who will face it? It will be we people who we have faced. So there is an example which is given in a very good book written by two authors. One is an Indian author, one is a foreign author. That most of the times when we talk about this impact of industries, you see, they are making benefit, but on behalf of whom? For example, I have the example is here that there is an industry, a local toy industry in a society, and they are making toys, they are making their profit, and then they are exiting they are emitting all their waste and dumping it, we can say, in an untreated manner. And ultimately, people in that area, they are feeling sick, they are getting diseases, they are having a lot of health issues. Ultimately, people are suffering. So there are two types of people. There are two categories. One on the side is that there are people who are making huge profits. And on the other side, there are people who are suffering because of those profits. So now, what we have to think about then, that there are so many questions which will go around us, which will, we can say, circulate in our mind, that who is this industry owning? Is it government, or is it a private industry? Or a private industry? Why they are violating the laws which have been which should have been enforced by the government, or which has been in practice by the government? Why they are breaking that? Why they are violating or breaking that laws? And do they have the license to operate in that society? That is why we see most of the times we see industrial estates, industrial areas. There are separate places where you have to manufacture your products. You cannot start your manufacturing unit in your society, at your neighbor's house. Clear? Then there are laws. Is there any law? Is there any law? Is there any standard set by the government? And if that is that, then what people have done against that particular action? Or the people, those who are there, have they complained? And if they have complained, how the government has taken the action? And if the government has taken the action, what are, we can say, the actions they have taken? Or if they have not taken the actions, then what can be the circumstances, negative circumstances people will face? Clear? So this all is going in our mind, and it should go in our mind. Now, when we talk about human rights and environmental laws or environmental protection, there are four things, and I will be discussing on this point number 3. I'll be discussing on the point number 3. The first is that we should have, we can say, most of the time as we talk about human rights, and we talk about environmental justice, or we talk about environmental sustainability. And second is that most of the time is clear when we talk about, as I told you, the concept of karma, clear, that environment is being harmed and the environment is harming the people back. So we have to take care of the environment will take care of us. And the third one is sustainable environment in the long run, which will be my presentation. And the final is that what we most of the time is talk about, our rights, the human rights, the duties, clear. And we all know it, that the human rights and the environmental degradation, there is, we can say, a proper link between the two. As I told you, that we are responsible. That, you see, if most of the times there was a presentation, there was one before my presentation, there was one speaker. She was, I think, we can say, journalist, or she was a photographer. Wildlife photographer. So when you tell them that how the nature, how it is beautiful there in the jungles, clear, it is more beautiful than our developed cities, or what we call as smart cities. When you go to a jungle, you will find a jungle better smart city than our own managed smart cities, where we spend billions of dollars to maintain those smart cities. And who is maintaining the jungle? It is nature. We call them animals. Animals means who don't have rule, who don't have law. Clear? Who don't know the rule of law, and they don't follow the rule of law, but they do it better. You see, there is a proper system. You can't find their waste. And if it is only because of we guys that we have done a lot of deforestation, we go there, we don't take care of the nature, clear? And then those animals, they are forced, as she was discussing about the wild dogs, clear. What is the impact, clear. So it is we guys who are forcing them to do all this. Now, I told you that my presentation will be discussing about the third point, which is sustainable environment in the long run. So my dear, if all you know these two people, these are very famous, one Richard Branson, clear. You all may be knowing that he's famous with the entrepreneurship. He's an entrepreneur, Virgin company. You see what they do, what they say. They say that, you see, it is not a business we have to always think about, clear. Just making profits and profits. No, rather we have to think about that what we are giving back to the society, clear, what we are giving back to the people. And then when we talk about, you see, if we would now, you see how Sir Richard Branson mentioned, he said that we are not around, means that we should have a value addition. If we are of no use, so there what I was talking about, that we should have a purpose beyond profits. It is not always making profits, clear, that we always think about profits, clear. No, something not just to invest in, but something to believe in. Means that we are not just putting our money to make money, mint money, clear. That people are doing it, clear, people are doing it. But what we have to do, we have to think that whether we are contributing something to society back or no, whether our business is profitable in the both scenarios or no, back to the society or no, whether we are improving the lifestyle of the people or no, whether we are improving our societies or no, and the part of the society, because we are the part of the society, whether we are improving ourselves or no, whether we are improving our we can say human standard or no, clear. So now most of the time is clear. If we talk about business, we think about the way to make profits, clear, and we are fighting for that. So my dear, it is not just about seeking money, making money without giving anything back, clear. We have to create the best products. We should be the first choice, but we have to maximize the returns for the people who are using such products, my dear. We have to be in constant fight for the survival. I told you that it should be sometimes, even if we have to face the issue of, we can say what we call in economics, we call it as break-even analysis. No profit, no loss situation. But still there are companies who are working that they don't want to make profits for a certain period of time, but they want to revert back that to the society, clear. So now when we talk about business, my dear, you see, our business, there are two types of people. You might have seen two types of businessmen. One is they are short minded, or we can say short run in economics, what we call it in short run, or in long run. We have two types. One is a short run, one is a long run. So what is our motto? What is our goal? Clear? Are we thinking, are we considering a short run, or are we considered about a long run, my dear? So what we have to do, if you see, I'm giving one example here. I will be giving one example here. You see, these things are, first of all, before that, giving that example, you see, it is not a thing which you will achieve in just a night, midnight, clear. You get up you got something in a mind. You see, then I have given the example of Google here, clear. You can see the example of Google. See, Google has not got the profits in a day. For you see, Amazon, it took 13 years for Amazon to make the profit of $1. The first dollar they got as a profit is after 13 years. Clear? They were in loss. But if you talk about Amazon now, clear? Who's the richest person on the earth? It is the Jeff Bezos. It is Jeff Bezos, none other than else. It's the same CEO or the owner of Amazon. Clear? And if you talk about the income of FANG group, clear? Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, clear? Google. If you talk about the income of that, it is more than the GDP of our country, clear? Their net worth is more than the GDP of our country, my dear. So this is the scenario. It takes patience, my dear. It takes time. It takes discipline. It doesn't come on a day first that you think about that we'll make a profit, clear? We'll start giving to the people and we will get it on the day first. No, my dear, it takes time. You see, my dear, if you talk about Coca-Cola, clear? You're continuously improving, continuously improving. It doesn't mean that you're Coca-Cola, you are the world's famous brand. Clear? It doesn't mean that the name brand is enough to survive, make you survive, my dear. Clear? No, it is not possible, my dear. You see, you can see here. You can see here that marine plastic bottle innovation. The 25% of the recycled marine plastic is used to make that food grade plastic bottle, my dear. Clear? So it is not a day first. You see, my dear, 100% plant based. You see, they are not just concerned that we have to make profits. Why? Because people are now getting more conscious. People are going to pay you only that if you are environmental friendly, if you are environmental sustainable. Clear? if you are working for the environment, if you have a cause. If you don't have a cause, if you don't have a positive cause, people are not going to pay you. That is why, my dear, people are nowadays ready to pay too much money for the products which are, we can say, most of the times you might be hearing this word, common word, organic, 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 or no chemical, no pesticide, huh? No fertilizer. Clear? People are ready to pay it for the organic. They're ready to, you see, farmers, those who are considered as the poor section of our society, they are ready to pay 5 times higher price for organic fertilizers, organic pesticides, organic chemicals. They are ready. Why? Because they want to survive, and they want to make the whole world to survive. They love our mother nature. Clear? ये खाली सुनील शेट्टी का डायलॉग नहीं है क्या? धरती मेरी माँ है. Clear? हाँ, they are working for that धरती मेरी माँ है. They're working continuously. They are paying 5 times higher price for the products they are using for that earth, because they know that we have changed the PQ value or pH value of earth. We have damaged the water table. Clear? We have increased the salinity of the earth. They are ready to pay. Even they are the most, we can say, poor section of the society, my dear. So, my dear, it is making people's lives better. Clear? It is not just making money. We have to think about that, what we have to do. You see, there is a very big point I have mentioned here. You see, there are objectives. The objectives might indeed be important, but they are worthless without a higher purpose. So you should have a higher purpose. You should have a thirst to do something good. Clear? You have to jump, we can say, out of the bed, and you have to do something what people are not doing. You have to do out of box. Clear? You should be a leader. You should be a leader. You should be a different leader. It's not just making money, my dear. Clear? So what you have to do, you have to make a difference. You have to create a difference by creating a value or creating something worthwhile. Clear? As I mentioned here, you see, investors get a return on their investment. Employees get a return on their efforts. Customers should get a return on their loyalty through the better product or the better solution over the time. It is not just people are selling the same product. That is why you see, many of the times, क्या आपके toothpaste में नमक है? Clear? They cannot sell the same toothpaste for 100 years. क्या आपके toothpaste में नमक है? भाई वो toothpaste में नमक होने से क्या फायदा? मुझे कोई समझ नहीं आ रहा. I cannot get it out. Clear? इतना सारा नमक तो हम वैसे ही खा रहे हैं. सब्जियों में नमक, हाँ, समोसे में नमक, हाँ, हर एक चीज में नमक है. अब टूथपेस्ट में भी नमक चाहिए क्या? But you have to do something innovative. Clear? You have to add a value. You cannot sell the same toothpaste for 100 years. You have to do something different. Clear? हाँ? क्या आपके we can say, can I say that detergent में lemon है? But detergent और lemon मेरे को तो detergent खाना नहीं है, पीना नहीं है. I don't have to make a juice out of it and then drink. Clear? No, my dear. But what you have to do, my dear, you have to add a value, my dear. Clear? So now if we think, my dear, you see, I'm going to finish my slide in 5-10 minutes, not more than that. I will not take more time. You see, when we have to do, गलती हो गई तो माफी कब मांगनी है? कब इंतजार करोगे? मौत पे तो कोई भरोसा नहीं है. तो we have to do, if we are doing something, if we are thinking something, now and forever. Clear? We have to do it right now, and we have to do it forever. You see, many companies I mentioned here, and their shareholders, they become bankered with that quick buck, or we can say short-term greed. Clear? They want to make profits, they want to make reputations, they want to build their brands, they want to get the rewards on the day first, my dear. And that is why their goals are, I can say, they are not achievable. Many of the businesses you will see, they just close within 5 years of their start. Why? Because they make a profit, a short-term profit, and they don't have a concern for the long run. They don't have a concern of the long run. That is why they suffer, and they make the people to suffer. Clear? So what we have to do as a business, we have to make the people's lives better, my dear. Clear? There are different ways, I told you, that you can improve the health of the people. Clear? Or we can say achieve things easily or cheaply. Clear? Or we can work faster and more, we can say effectively. And you can get it through by meeting new people, exploring new areas. Clear? New arenas, or simply putting a smile on the faces of the customers. Clear? So you have to take consideration for all that carbon dioxide emissions, methane emissions. Clear? As a manager, you have to do it. Clear? Or you have to, which I have mentioned in the last slide, that we have to take care, that we have to incline with charitable organizations. We have to incline with NGOs. Clear? We have to support the people of cause, or people for the cause, my dear. We have to reduce the conflict. People are doing it, my dear. People are doing it. Clear? So now, for all this, what we need, We need an inspiring leadership, my dear. I'm finishing my slides in 5 minutes. I know it may be late. So for all this, we need inspiring leadership. What does that inspiring leadership mean? Inspiring leadership means, my dear, that what we have to see, we have to find the people, who are forward thinkers, who are open-minded, more collaborative, more ready to pay for the research, clear, more ready to pay for the environment. They are ready to pay for the, we can say, if they do anything wrong, if they harm the society, clear, if they harm the environment, if they harm the soil, if they harm the air, if they harm the water, clear, they have a goal to, we can say, they are embracing new mindset, clear, they are thinking more about sustainability, they are thinking more innovatively, they are thinking more holistically, clear, they are more responsible, they are more proactive, they are not active, they are proactive, that if this wrong happens tomorrow, what we have to do, clear. So they are the people who are seeing the new opportunities which are going to emerge, they are making the new connections, they are having, we can say, brilliant compromises, clear. They are doing something out of their business, they are very sensitive to the needs of the people, clear, they are interpreting the world around them as per the need of the time, my dear. So they are changing a threat into opportunity, they are redressing or addressing these problems very systematically, clear. So all this, we need such people and such leaders. Then when they, boy, because they have a positive vision, they are not thinking about, we can say, short term issues, clear. No, they have a long term goal in their mind. And all of this, what they will do, my dear, sorry, I think the third one is not visible here. You see, three things are here, my dear. The point number one is that they will provide the customers the products that improve their lifestyles, not that they will fulfill their needs, clear. Clear? No. Then what they will do? They will give the greener products that will fulfill their needs. And finally, I have one thing to say, that I will finish my presentation by saying that responsible products respond to demand. Responsible products respond to demand. It is not that whatever you manufacture, people will buy it. No, my dear. It is, if you manufacture something worth, people are ready to pay it. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope you have got few things out of my presentation. If any questions, you can let me know. I hope I'm audible. Hello.
Yes, sir. Thank you so
Okay.
much, sir. Your presentation is
It is,
very good, sir, and very
thank you.
informative
Thank you.
session, sir. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Sir. Thank you, sir. Okay. Thank you so much.
Next speaker is Amita Jain. Amita Jain. Alpna Sharma. Alpna Sharma. Shipra Rathod. Mamta Sharma. Dr. Ved Prakash. Rajendra Kumar Prohit. Meenu Bhati. Rekha Acharya. Rekha Singh. रेखा सिंह, रेखा सिंह, डॉक्टर संजय परिहार, कन्हैया लाल, रजनीश कुमार बारेठ, शारदा, नंदिता जैन, राजेंद्र प्रसाद खीचर, किशन लाल कुमार, बलदेव राज बिनवारा, योगेश चहार, सरोज चहार, संदीप कुमार शर्मा, संदीप शर्मा, संदीप शर्मा, आर यू hearing? You want to present? ज्योति देवल, मधुबाला, पूनम प्रभा, write down in chat box that want to present paper now. Write down in chat box that want to present paper now. जाकिर हुसैन, मीनाक्षी गुजर, सुरेश कुमार, प्रेमलता, डॉक्टर प्रेमलता, you want to present? Dr. Premlata, Department of Botany. Are you hearing my voice? Dr. Pooja, Satish Chand Kashyap, Dr. Sunita Sharma, Rajrishi Swami, Asutosh Kaushik, Harshita Dadich, Dr. Ramlila, सरिता पांडे, मैडी राजू, मधुबाला मीणा, शेफाली, किंजल, वरुण, प्रतिभा, मंजू मीणा, डॉक्टर मनीष, मीनू सिंह, डॉक्टर निधि यादव, उदिता कुंडू, उदिता कुंडू, डॉक्टर उदिता कुंडू, आर यू हियरिंग? उदिता, डॉक्टर उदिता.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
Am I audible?
afternoon. Ma'am, you want to present paper?
Sir, actually, my paper was scheduled for tomorrow.
Your paper scheduled tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am. ठीक है, ma'am.
If you want, I can read my abstract today.
If you are ready, you can present.
Actually, I don't have my PPT on my phone, but if you allow, I can give tomorrow or today, whatever you say.
You can present your paper tomorrow.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you so much. Yesterday, serial number 1275. That presentation is not done due to technical issue. If any want to present paper serial number 1275, I am telling the name. धनंजय अमरावत, धनंजय अमरावत, yes, you can present. Dhananjay Amrawat. Write down in the chat box that want to present paper. I will complete the attendance. Dhananjay Amrawat, you are meeting host now. Please unmute yourself.
यस सर,
and present.
जी मेरी
Yes.
आवाज आ रही है सर?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
जी सर, मैं हाँ जी, मैं डॉक्टर धनंजय रावत, असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर एन व्यास विश्वविद्यालय, राजस्थानी विभाग। मेरी आवाज आ रही है सर? क्लियर
Yes,
नहीं है
ma'am.
जी। मैं चूंकि साहित्य के क्षेत्र से हूँ और मेरा पेपर भी साहित्य से संबंधित है कि पर्यावरण किस तरह से साहित्य और पर्यावरण को साहित्य किस तरह से बचा सकता है या साहित्य की क्या उपादेयता है, उस पर मेरा आधारित मेरा पेपर है, जो कुछ इस प्रकार है। राजस्थानी संत साहित्य में मानवाधिकार पर्यावरण एक विरोध।
शिवेतर क्षतये कोई कवि काव्यનું સર્જન क्यों करे एरा न्यारा न्यारा केई पडूतर वे सके पडूतर तो मोटा रूप में सार ओई सामी आवे कि कवि जुग दृष्टा वो आपरा जुग ने दीठ देवे और चाहे कि आखो समाज कल्याणकारी मार्ग माथे चाले और आपरे झलम ने चोखा अर्थ देवे जणा ऊठा विधना शिवेतर क्षतये कयो है शिवेतरो अर्थ वे अमंगल और क्षतयरो अर्थ वे विनाश और इन आखा शब्द रो अर्थ निकले के काव्य आपरी सकलाई सु मीनक सारू जकी बाता अमंगलकारी वे उणारो विनाश करे और जकी बाता सु मिनकी चारो उजड़ा मार्गा बधे उणारो सृजन करे और या के वे बाता समाज ताई आपरी वाणी के लेखनी रे मार्फत पुगावे साहित्य के काव्य रे ऊपर लिखोड़ी इन ओळखाण ने संत साहित्य सदिया सु राती माती कर आपरो सावजोग तो योगदान दियो है संतारी समाजू दीठ रो पसराव अणु तो लांबो चोड़ो और अड़गा ताई व्योड़ो दिसे संतारी इणीज लूठी दीठ री सींग में आवे अपनो पर्यावरण लेखक ओपी शर्मा रे मुजब आज रे समय विश्व मानस समाज ने पर्यावरण संरक्षण सारू जागरूक बेवन की जरूरत है हाल ही में मिली सर्वे रिपोर्ट मुजब विश्व रे 75 संविधाना में पर्यावरण अधिकार रे रूप में व्यक्ति समूह और समुदाय सारू स्वीकार करियो गयो है इनरे
यस मैम कंटिन्यू
एक सेकंड सर 75 संविधान में पर्यावरण अधिकार रे रूप में व्यक्ति समूह और समुदाय सारू स्वीकार करियो गयो है जिनमें 60 संविधान रे में व्यक्तिगत रूप से पर्यावरण संरक्षण ने कर्तव्य रे रूप में रे में शामिल करियो गयो है वहां में 27 ने पर्यावरण संरक्षण ने अधिकार रूप में स्वीकार करी जियो है और 22 संविधान में इनने भावी पीढ़ियां सारू तहे दिल से संरक्षित राखण सारू कही जियो है संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघ रे विशेषज्ञ मुजब मानवाधिकार स्वस्थ और स्वच्छ पर्यावरण ने पोषित करने रे क्षेत्र में उठाई जियो अनूठो कदम है पर्यावरण पेठे ऊपर केरड़ी इन घणभंगी बात मुजब आ जागरूक होती आधुनिक दुनिया रे साथे कदम ताल मिलाव तो सामी आवे राजस्थानी भाषा रो नो संत साहित्य पर्यावरण सगला घटका रो महत्व ए दूरदर्शी संत सैकड़ों वर्षा पहले पहचान लीनो और आप वाणिया मार्फत महत्व ने समाज रे सामी राख्यो पर्यावरण ने लेन आ संसारी दीठ घणी झीणी रही है वैदिक काल में ऋषि मुनि समाजो हित सारू रूखा ने पूजन री बात करी और वारी रिछियारी बात कहे पर संत तो इन परंपरा ने और विस्तारित करता थका रूखा रे साथे साथे जल जीव जिनावरा पाख पखेरुआ इत्यादि सगला रे संरक्षण सारू समाज ने सावचेती भरी सीख देवे ईसाई जोगा संता रे माय राजस्थानी संत परंपरा रो एक सबड़ो थांबो है संत गुरु जांबोजी संत जांबोजी आपरी वाणी रे मार्फत समाज ने जगावण रो लोक मंगलकारी कार्य कीनो आज सु लगे ठगे 500-600 वर्षा पहली आपरी दियोड़ी 29 सीखा आपरी पर्यावरण परख दीठ रो सबड़ो सबूत है मिनख रे जीवन में पर्यावरण रो महत्व आप इतना बरस आगोच परख लियो और एक जुग दृष्टारी गड़ाई जीवा रो रूखा रो महत्व जीवन रे वैभवशाली वेवण सु जोड़ कमलास रे साथे समझायो और ने कहो कि जीव न मारो सिद्धि रहे सब जीवन सु ईश्वर निहारो लीला रूख न काटो कोई अष्ट निधि सो निधि खड़ी रहे घर माही सिद्धि और निधि रे साथे ही वे ओ भी कहवे कि हर जीव में ईश्वर रो वासो है इन सावचोकती बात सुवे मिनख ने धर्म और नैतिकता रे मार्ग चलावता थका अपरोक्ष रूप से पर्यावरण ने बचाई लेवे कम शब्दा में गहरी और खरीकी बात जांबोजी री वाणी री लूठी विशेषता है भगत फगत एक ओली रे माय आप आज री संपूर्ण पर्यावरण री पीड़ ने बखान दीवी और कहो कि जीव दया पालनी रूख लीला न धावे घावे इनने संत श्री वहां दो पखा ने आप सामी राख्या है कि जना सारू आज अपा सगलों की खुटाई ने अबे चेतिया हाँ आज जब मिनक पर्यावरण कानी आंख खोलने जोयो है तद वो पायो है कि कई जीवारी नस्ला इन धरा सु उठ गई है और बाकी भी उड़ती जा रही है जबकि के इन प्रकृति ने में फूड चेन रे रूप घनी जरूरी है। हाँ आज बात लीला रूखा सारू पण लागू है। मिनक आंधा विकास री दौड़ में जंगल काटना के और आज दियावलो व्योड़ो थको प्राण वायु सारू तरसे रूखा रे साथे इज जीव जीनावर मर गया प्रकृति रो संतुलन गड़बड़ाई गयो और जांबोजी रे मार्ग बताया मार्ग माथे चालता तो मिनख री आगत कदे नहीं होती। जीवा दया सारू दयारो भाव और लीला रूखा रे बचावन री घणमूंगी सीख जांबोजी रे काव्य रो मूल रूप बनर सामी आयो है। आप जीवो और दूजा ने पण जीवन दो जिसी अहिंसात्मक उक्ति कानी जांबोजी मिनकी चारे ने बधावन री खेचल करी। वे संदेश देवे कि इन पर्यावरण में छोटे सु छोटो जीव पण आपरी महताव ठोड़ राखे और वहां सगला सारू जांबोजी सावचेत नजर आवे। बकरा और मीना जैसा पशुआ रे कटन सारू बेचन वास्ते पण जांबोजी बढ़जे और जे कोई पशुआ ने मारतो काटतो दिखे तो उन ठोड़ जांबोजी मिनक ने उत्सर्ग सारू प्रेरित करता केवे बरजत मारे जीव ताहा मर जाई और इन हद ताई मिनक जब मिनक आपरे पर्यावरण सारू चेत जावे तद वो देश समाज ने उन्नति कानी ले जा सके। अबोला बेलारी पीड़ ने भी कोई जांबोजी सरीका संत इज परस करन री खिमता राखे। अमर रही वावे थाट बेल बधिया न कराओ मूक पसवा सारू दयारो भाव समाज ने पांगरावे घणो जरूरी है। संवेदनशील मिनक की दूजा मिनक या जीवारे माथे अत्याचार नहीं कर सके उनने पाण समाज में नैतिकता पोखिस्ती रहे समाज धर्मनिष्ठ बनियो बने और आखिर मिनक इज इनी पर्यावरण रो एक महत्व अंग है। जांबोजी नहीं चाहे के मिनक नशाखोरी जिसे आंटाल गेले पड़े। इन तरह जांबोजी आपरी वाणी रे माध्यम सु पर्यावरण ने बचाए और मानवाधिकार ने अपरोक्ष रूप से पोखता नजर आवे। गुरु शिरोमणि जांबोजी रे इन संसार में प्रकटिया वारो आदर्श जीवन। सर मैं टाइम ले सकती हूँ, पूरा पढ़ सकती हूँ, अभी कंटिन्यू करूं? हेलो हेलो गुरु जांबोजी आपरा सगला चिंतन मनन रो निष्कर्ष स्वरूप जी मेरी आवाज
मैम योर प्रेजेंटेशन इज ओवर।
जी
ठीक है, थैंक यू सो मच, वेरी नाइस प्रेजेंटेशन मैम।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू सो मच मैम। नेक्स्ट स्पीकर इज द ईशान तिवारी। ईशान तिवारी।
Good afternoon to all the respected members. I am going to present the paper which is entitled Utilization of Microbial Peptide as Biocontrol Agent. I am Ishan Tiwari, research scholar from MIT Institute of Microbial Technology. Starting with the background information, the microbial peptide have gained a big attention.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, finish this paper in 10 minutes.
Sure, sure.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So, as we have seen the increased use of pesticide and insecticides in the agriculture field, which has produced several effects not only to the crop, to the soil, as well as to the humans, since the humans are suffering from various diseases which are caused only due to the pollution created by insecticides and pesticides. So, we have proposed a different product which is an antimicrobial peptide to be used instead of the insecticide and pesticides. As shown in the diagram, the antimicrobial peptide work as a barrel steam model, carpet model, which if I tell in brief that it creates a pores, extrudes the cell organelles due to which it causes the cell death. We have isolated the lactobacillus species from the milk, cultured on MRS media, extracted and purified and identified. The antibacterial activity was observed on E. coli Rashtonia solanaceum smith, which is a pathogen causing the diseases to the family of tomato. And the culture supernatant which contains the peptide we added in vitro experiment and saw the zone of inhibition around the agar, which showed that the phytopathogen was killed with the action of a microbial peptide. Further, the mass spectroscopy and peptide mass fingerprinting analysis was being performed, after which it was determined that 9,571 kilodalton was the molecular weight of the peptide mass fingerprinting. It was analyzed by mascot server, which showed the peptide which was around 50 residues length. The predicted structure was being shown as it can be seen here. This structure clearly confirms the alpha helix, as the majority of the structure contains the alpha helix in the antimicrobial peptide chain. And the present work which deals with the antimicrobial peptide has a potential to be used instead of the pesticides in the agriculture field, and especially for the solanaceae family of vegetable which we have extracted. As we have seen, the lactobacillus is being widely used in the cases of human diarrhea, as well as it is used as a probiotic. It is a novel technology which we have utilized to be used in the agriculture fields. Also, it shows the distant mode of action, which greatly decreases the risk of cross contamination as the resistant development, which is one of the major issue and the hurdle in today's time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Your presentation is very informative, sir. Thank you so much. Our next presentation is the Varun Misra. Varun Misra.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Give me a second, sir. I'm just starting only. My paper is on public health data and its utilization, sir. I wish to talk about the extract of the paper, sir. Uh, Public health is the discipline of health promotion, disease prevention, and prolonged life in human population via organized efforts of society. Global, national, and local healthcare organizations and governments have developed the system for data collection and diverges depending upon their needs, infrastructure, and available resources. The data is vital for element of public health assessment, used to detect new threats for public health, to identify risk groups, to plan and evaluate the health programs and outcomes, and to formulate government budgets. The states of India are in diverse phases of epidemiological transition, consequential in a large variation in burden of disease across the nation. The Ayushman Bharat digital mission aims to incorporate health infrastructure, has nurtured a system to create a unique identification number for every individual across the healthcare providers. However, these data relics insufficient, fragmented, and tedious to gather and and interpret in India. The decisive gaps in quality and data availability cannot be ignored to measure and address the progress towards amelioration population health that would demand an integral response from the government and divergent multi-sectional actions. The conclusion is the data is vital element of public health assessment used to detect new threats of public health, to identify risk groups, to plan and evaluate the health programs and outcomes, and to formulate government budget in India. The decisive gaps is data availability and the quality of the data, which cannot be ignored to measure and address the progress towards the population health, and that would demand an integral response from the government and the multi-sectional action. Sir. This is it, sir, from my end.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
आज के तो सारे कंप्लीट